Be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. Aren't you glad to have me back? You got a nice representation of just about how my season's gone so far to this point. I find all the best values on the slate, present those values, and then those values present me with a big, nice middle finger. At least I can hang my hat on that free. When all else fails, a coach gets fired, and you take the free win and move on. Now, interestingly enough, I think I briefly mentioned yesterday, there were a whole litany of teams who had to play the previous night and then had to travel and play the next day. I told you to go look at some of those. Every single team. Every team who had to play and then had to travel lost their game. Even the St. Louis Blues, without Robert Thomas, shut out the Carolina Hurricanes. The Nashville Predators beating the Edmonton Oilers. You got the Detroit Red Wings shut out by the Boston Bruins. And they even mentioned on the broadcast, like, you could see it down there. They got nothing left. The coach was even telling us the young players, they don't know how to deal with this schedule. As I was saying yesterday, it's a fake season. It really is. You're not seeing the real versions of the teams. You're just getting pieced together efforts just to try to get by. Who's got legs tonight? Get them out there, see if we can sneak a point or two. Now, on this 4-game slate, I see one instance of that. Should we just kind of ride that into the next day? The Ottawa Senators got through the Vancouver Canucks by the skin of their teeth. Now they're going to the Rangers, who, I mean, 3 disastrous teams. First, you have the Senators playing the disastrous Vancouver Canucks. Now they're playing the disastrous New York Rangers in New York. But if we're to follow the trends, then we're going to be taking the New York Rangers to beat the Ottawa Senators. They had to play, travel, go over the border, and now they're playing in New York. New York really has been playing poorly, hasn't been winning much. I saw a stat about the Jets and Giants having more win in the last however many games than the New York Rangers. So that's just about where they're at right now. No Shesterkin still, no Adam Fox. But you saw, it didn't matter how shorthanded the St. Louis Blues were. So I guess let's see if that schedule takes its toll on the Ottawa Senators. I'll go with, oh my God, the New York Rangers to beat the Ottawa Senators. I believe they're slight underdogs. It's close to a pick 'em. Am I going to bet this? Absolutely not. I don't bet donkey lines. If I'm going to lose, it's going to be like what you saw yesterday. Great value in Garland. Thank you for the loss. Great value in Michelli. Thank you for the loss. Great value on Van Riemsdyk. Okay, thank you for the loss. That is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my losses, but at least I'm going to feel good about. I saw somebody comment like on maybe, I forget where it was, maybe on Twitter. They said it feels great having your great value. Nothing feels better than losing when you had that great value. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm going to have to go with. A great value loss. Because I see one of those on the New York Rangers, and this is the guy who is taking Adam Fox's spot on the top power play, and that is Vladislav Gavrikov, who they got from the LA Kings. Am I saying he's a great offensive defenseman? Am I saying anything like that? No, but what I'm saying is, I've told you this a million times. I told you this when Orlov was working the point on San Jose's power play. You don't have to be good to just send it over to that guy over there. And in San Jose, that guy over there is Celebrini. In New York, that guy over there is Artemi Panarin. So I'm going to go with Gavrikov for a point against the Ottawa Senators. And then you know how it goes. I always try to give you the point and then give you a parlay. And the parlay there, another one of the things that I do. Anytime I get a defenseman like that, you can take it with the best player on the team who's also on the power play. Panarin 2 points, Gavrikov assists, plus 500 against the Ottawa Senators. Another good value that had a nice laugh at me yesterday was the Suzuki and Caulfield, plus 110. And I got another one that I like, and this is one that I will bet because the New Jersey Devils, albeit another disgraceful type of team, all the rumors about the trade that fell through with Hughes because nobody would waive their no-trade clauses. Now they're trying to trade Hamilton. Hamilton was scratched. The Nemitz was scratched. Hamilton's back in the lineup. A lot of smoke and mirrors, not a lot of good stuff going on. But as I told you, the Toronto Maple Leafs will be a worse regular season team. but they will be able to just get through it because they imported a coach, a real coach, and they will be fine long term. The New Jersey Devils imported a roller hockey coach for a roller hockey team. That, in my opinion, is a long-term disaster. But we're not talking about the long term. We're talking about tonight. They're at home against the Seattle Kraken, and New Jersey has scored in these last couple of games. They finally got a win. Before that, they scored 3 up there in Winnipeg. And I just think that when you can get Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, both for a point, that's back-to-back games now. They both pointed. And I'm going to be looking for them to do the same at home against the Seattle Kraken. Give me Bratt and Hughes both for a point, plus 105 against the Seattle Kraken, who do kind of have their own values there. I know you guys like your streaks. Well, Matt Beniers, because I'm not calling a grown man Matty. It's just not happening. Matt Beniers, and by the way, I forget what sportsbook it is. One of them refuses to do the same. One of them just put Matthew Beniers because they're like me. They refuse to call some guy Matty. You're not walking around 25 years. Hi, I'm Matty. Go chase the ice cream man while I'm chasing that minus 110 for a point, because Matthew Beniers has 5 points, I believe, in his life. He's pointed in 5 straight games, maybe even 6. And that top line has a decent bit of chemistry. Him, Eberle, and Kakko. Now, I think they're going to be getting Stevenson back, but that doesn't affect the top line. That top line's been pretty set when all 3 of those guys are playing. Eberle returned to the lineup last game. You know what I said. Teams are doing well, which the Kraken absolutely are. They're accumulating a bunch of points, and we're going to have the same lines. So you give me Eberle and Beniers both for a point, but that Matty Beniers point is looking decent. I'm not thrilled about it, but I also kind of like it because the Devils can't really keep pucks out of their net. Markstrom's having one of the worst years of all time, if you believe any of those advanced metrics. Let's go to the late game. One of the late games between the LA Kings and the Vegas Golden Knights. This one's taking place in LA. Now, I said yesterday on Twitter that the Vegas Golden Knights, I told you this during the playoffs last year, they're just a worse version of the Stanley Cup team. They're just progressively getting worse. However, they're in a little run right now that I really like the way they're playing. Got a couple of wins under their belt. They're going into LA. I wish they weren't going into LA because I would feel a little bit better about this. But Mitch Marner's going through one of these streaks where he's starting to accumulate points. And they did something that I like. When I see the construction of a line, I like one playmaker and I like one shooter, because then I just know what that line is trying to do. And now we saw Marner and Dorofeyev playing together. We know both of those guys are on the top power play. I like Dorofeyev in the last game because he was all the way down at like minus 105. Now, because of the last game against the Sharks, they bumped him up. He had a couple of points. But I like that tandem at plus 110. I know LA's, you really can get some crusty games. But I kind of like what I've seen from Vegas these last couple of games. They're scoring some goals. Every once in a while, a game in LA can feature more than just 2 or 3 goals. Let's hope this is one of them. I'm going to go with Marner and Dorofeyev for a point against the LA Kings. And you know what? Started with a pizzeria pick. Let's end with a pizzeria pick. Vegas, I kind of like how they're playing right now. I'm going to take them to win. I think this, just like the Rangers game, is a pick'em. So 2 pick'ems. I'm going with the home team in one with the Rangers because they're playing the Senators on the second half of a back-to-back and they have to travel. And then I just kind of like the way the Golden Knights are playing at the moment. Long term, I hate their prospects. They have one, just like they should have lost against Minnesota in that first round. But I think they have 1 round max in the playoffs. Just store these down the road as I'm kind of know where my playoff feelings lie. Anyway, that is what I have for you. Good luck to you. Definitely better luck to me. Make sure you're subscribed here to the YouTube channel. If you enjoy this video or any other videos, I got Dave and Dan coming. I'm going to be filming that today. I'll get that out to you as soon as possible. So, let me know how you feel in the comments. Give me that engagement. Very much appreciated. You know that Patreon is always there for you. Patreon.com/Andy Francess. I will be back with you for the next round of NHL Sniffs and a Dave and a Dan. I will talk to you then.